Hi folks, it's just me again. I'd like to share with you another dream that I had. I believe it's a tribulation dream. But it wasn't one that was really super scary or anything. It was just kind of odd and very informative. And again, it was a dream where I was somebody else. I wasn't me in the dream, and you'll find out what that means as I explain it as I get into it. Okay, anyway, this is the dream. I'm in this school. It's a modern school, big glass windows, big glass doors, and everything. And I'm there looking for a friend. So I end up finding the friend. We talk, we do our business, and then he leaves. And then I try to leave, but I can't find an exit. I can't find my way out of the school. So I go to the office and the staff members, and they're all friendly, and they point me the way to go. They show me the door. And so I go to the door, I open it, and I just see this great big huge basement. It's about 30 feet down and 100 feet in one direction, 100 feet in all the other directions. And there's scaffolding, and it looks like a construction site. But it's a finished basement. There's concrete everywhere. And then so I make my way down. I climb down one of the scaffoldings and make my way to the basement. And then I tried to leave, but again, in this particular basement, I can't find a way out. So I have to climb my way back up the scaffold and get back to the door. And so I do, and I get back into the school, and I go to the same office. And this time, all the staff members are evil. They've changed. They're angry that I'm still there, or they're angry that I'm there in the first place. And so I leave. And I try finding my way out, and then another staff member comes to me, a nicer one, and they show me how to get to back down to the basement, but a different way. And they tell me that there's an exit out there, a parking garage. So I go to this other door, and I find my way to the same place, but this time, in order to get down to the basement, get down 30 feet, I don't take the scaffold. I take this sort of like conveyor belt. It's a cloth conveyor belt, and I grab onto it, and it lowers me down as the counterweight moves upward. So I find my way to the basement again, and I'm looking around, and then I see other staff people leaving. They're all going to the parking exits. And I see this one fellow, a black gentleman, who's the janitor. And so I follow him out, and there are two exits. There's one marked colored people, and then the other one is just marked for staff, the usual staff exit. And so he leaves out of his exit, and I leave out the other. That's why I'm saying I was somebody else in the dream. If it was me, I would have had to have taken the colored people exit. And in the dream, the colored people referred to any visible minority. They could be Chinese, they could be East Indian, red, brown, black, or yellow. It didn't matter. They had to take that one exit. And the one or the other exit was just for the white people. And so I go out that exit, and it leads up a short flight of stairs, and I enter into this room, and I get into the room, and it's a natural history museum, or it's like a natural history museum, but it's the history of the Nazi culture, of the Nazi history on Earth in our particular past. And there's a curator there who's explaining the whole history of the Nazis, and he tells me that the Nazis, the German people, were actually manipulated by demons. The demons were the ones controlling the German people. The demons were the ones who created the whole Nazi attitude. And the demons ended up finding a willing person that turned out to be Hitler. And so the whole German Nazi culture that created the Holocaust was inspired by demons themselves. It wasn't really a man-made thing. At least that's what the curator explained in the dream. that the demons were there just manipulating the German people into doing their bidding to bring about a demon-centered Nazi agenda. And then I woke up. But that wasn't the end of the dream. I just woke up for a few minutes, looked around, then I closed my eyes, and then I was back into the same dream. And this happened a couple of times throughout the rest of the dream. But I'll just tell the whole dream as it is. So anyway, I went back to sleep, and the dream picked up where it left off. I was in the same Nazi-themed museum. But this time, the curator led me up to a factory. And in that factory, I became one of the workers. But I was still looking for a way out, but I had to fulfill my duties in that factory. And in this factory, they were making a kind of a wood product. It looked like a big chunk of log or something like that. And in the factory, they were soaking these pieces of wood, soaking these chunks of wood in this chemical. And in this chemical, it had really dense particles in it, so that when the wood was dried and it was lit on fire, it would immediately burn, but then it would turn a charcoal black, but the more dense particles would create a star-like pattern over the wood. And in the factory, all the factory workers were good people, but they were led by really evil bosses. There was a really evil agenda going on with the stuff that we were making. And the wood products were sold on TV. In the factory, there were TVs all over the place showing commercials. And they would show this particular chunk of wood, and it would be burning, it would be black, like charcoal. But those other pieces of more dense chemicals, they would burn like stars. So it looked like stars in a blackened space. And this product would burn with various blah, 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 and it would look like the stars in the sky. So the museum curator told me that the demons were creating a Nazi-based educational system in the world right now. That right now, in our present world, everything that the kids are taught in junior high school and high school and in college and universities, it's all going to be turned into a demon-centered, Nazi-based educational system. In other words, in the tribulation that all this is leading up to is that the people are going to be given, or they're going to be, or they're going to have a similar attitude that they did back in the 30s and 40s, where there will be white people controlling everything and visible minorities. But in the Tribulation Society, there's going to be no lower class. It's just going to be middle class people who are the workers, and the upper class people who are the ones who are the bosses, who are the elite controlling all the workers. And in the middle class, all the workers, there's not going to be any visible minorities. It's all going to be white people running the stores, white people running the libraries. Everything that they have during the tribulation period will all be led by white people. They'll be taking back the workforce because there'll be no visible minorities there. There'll be white maids, white butlers. It'll be a whole white society. But there will still be visible minorities. There will still be Chinese, there will still be black, there will be East Indian, but they will all be in the ruling class. These will be the people that are good-looking people. They may have colored skins, but they will have white facial features. And they will be people who can produce, people who are intelligent, people who can be part of the ruling class. But they will still be separate from the majority of the white people. And then, what else to say? Oh yeah, and then the curator, as the dream was coming to an end and the factory was closing down, the curator told me that the demon-based or the demon-centered Nazi agenda was being created so that they can take back the stars from the Christians. That's why they were making this wood product, was to remind the people that the stars that they could see in this wood burning would remind them of the stars in the sky. and that they were taking back the stars of the sky from the Christians, that the creation that is God's is no longer going to be God's, but it will be the demon's creation. It'll be Satan's creation. Satan is going to be taking back the stars, at least with that particular attitude they'll have in the tribulation. And that's when the dream ended. And the whole interpretation of the dream as it unfolded seemed pretty obvious about the New World Order creating the same kind of attitude that they had back in the old days, with a ruling white class and everybody else. And that's what it's going to be like during the tribulation period. At least that's what it felt like during the dream. It was a very unusual dream. Basically just talking about the attitudes that people will have during their controlled situation when the New World Order depopulates everybody to a controllable size of 500 million. There's going to be the majority will be white people, and the minority will be visible minority people. And that's about it. Whatever that means. If anybody has another interpretation and you can read into it, feel free to comment below. But that's it anyway. No, that's it. So take heart. Even though the tribulation period is going to be dark and not a nice place to be a part of, we know that Jesus is coming back soon, and the rapture is going to be happening. So take heart, people. Thanks for listening. Be a blessing wherever you are in the world. And we'll talk to you later, somewhere else out there in internet land and YouTube world. See ya. Be blessed.